final battle between heaven and hell is upon us. A millennia-old struggle between demons and angels to be decided once and for all on... a train? A monster train! Monster Train is a roguelike deck building game that brings a fresh take to the genre. Your battleground is 4 levels on a train carriage, with the top level being reserved for your pyre. This is the heart of your train, and if its health reaches 0, it's game over. To protect it, you'll need to play cards on the lower 3 levels and defeat your enemies. It's such a fun and interesting spin on strategic card games, and it felt really engaging as you're trying to keep tabs on so many things. Each floor has a limited number of space for units, and there's lots of spells, buffs, and debuffs to keep track of. Combat is turn-based, and at the end of each round, enemy units you haven't slain will move up a level towards your pyre. If you don't pay attention, it can really come back to bite you later. But if you manage to beat the boss for that location, then it's full steam ahead! Choo-choo! There's 8 locations to play through in one run, and finishing them all unlocks a new difficulty level, called a Covenant. I like that it lets you customize the difficulty, and trying to unlock a new Covenant level gives it a lot of challenge and replayability. I'll admit, I have yet to get past Covenant level 2 because it is hard, but I'm not going to let that stop me. I am determined to keep trying, because for me, this game strikes a great balance between being forgiving and challenging. It's dynamic and flexible. For example, sometimes the game gives you the option to make a location more difficult in exchange for a reward at the end. Do you dare risk it for the biscuit? And even though this is a deck building game, the building side of things is kept to a minimum, which I love. To start a run, you pick a main and supporting clan out of the 5 different clans you can unlock. This will determine the cards you have available, as well as give you a strong champion from your main clan. They all have their own style and are full of cool and powerful looking creatures. You're then automatically given a randomized deck to play with, instead of having to build your own. I loved this. Figuring out deck synergy is one of the trickiest and, for me, least enjoyable parts of a deck builder. But playing with a pre-built deck all the time can get really boring. This lets you play with a brand new, interesting deck every single time. It's great. And you still get quite a bit of involvement with deck synergy and tailoring it to your playstyle. At certain points, you can pick additional cards to add to your deck, or upgrades and buffs. When you get to a new location, there's also the choice between 2 train tracks, which offer different options. Do you opt for more money to spend on upgrades later, or do you heal your pyre before its health gets too low? Decisions. These choices can also be influenced by the clans you're using, as each focuses on different playstyle with its spell and unit types. So, for example, do you focus on upgrading spells or units? Personally, I'm a really big fan of having cool characters to play, so I really liked the Umbra clan. Not only is its champion a huge multi-legged monster thing, but Umbra has these small morsel units that get eaten by the front unit at the end of that turn, and gives it a buff. Units for your units to make them a unit! I did feel bad for the little guys, but it made for some deliciously fun gameplay. There are also various multiplayer modes available, though instead of directly competing against other players, you compete for points and a spot on the leaderboard. It's not exactly what I want out of a multiplayer experience, but they've tried hard to put in that extra element to what's mostly a single-player game. And the Hellrush mode is really cool. In this multiplayer mode, you play the same run with the same cards at the same time, focusing on completing the levels before time runs out. It's a clever way to do multiplayer in a game like this. To me, this game is about just letting you have as much fun as possible. It's dynamic, juicy, and just over the top enough. Deck synergy is still there, but you don't have to work so hard to be able to use it and enjoy it. The strategy is solid, and with the sliding difficulty scale, you can either really challenge yourself or just kick back and enjoy the ride on the monster train. I feel like this gave me all the bits of a deck builder that I love, while still letting me off the hook for the bits I'm not so into. So I'm giving Monster Train 4.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.